Okay, so okay, so in the last class, like we saw how to create the test cases, like the TestNG test case, and also like we saw how to write the code and how to execute that TestNG test case. Okay, so let's quickly go back to our previous test. Okay, so in this folder, okay, yeah. So like what we did, like we created one test, like which is and Amazon homepage, the name of the test, and like you have two tests in there. Like one is Amazon homepage, and the other one is Amazon link verification. And we do have @before method, after method, before class, and after class. Okay, so we just created like one test with all these annotations, and we have written some code into it. Okay, so before even going into the TestNG, I wanted to update you guys is like in case if you are using the latest version of the Selenium, which is like 3.0. Okay, so like in the last class, like I told you, like we will be using the Selenium server standalone 3.0.1. Okay, so in case if you are using the latest versions of the Internet Explorer as well as the Firefox or the Chrome, it's better to use the 3.0.1. Okay, because this is the latest one and it supports all the latest versions of the browser. So better to use this. And not only this, like in case if you are using the Firefox, okay, let's say if you are like using the Firefox browser, so before what used to happen is, see, let's say I'll create one simple test case. Let's say I'll go into this and I'll just create one package here and say com.test. Let's say Firefox. Okay, and so in that I'll create Firefox. Okay, here. So Firefox, I'll create a new, we can use anything, okay? Or like, let me create a folder here itself so that we can create a TestNG class. So I'll say new package, and I'll say com.test.firefox. Okay. And here I'll create a new TestNG class. So I'll go to right click new and I'll select the other and I'll select the TestNG class over here, and we need to give some name to it and also in which package that we want to create. So I'll create the com.test.testng examples, or not this. I'll try to select the Firefox. Okay, and the test I'll give is let's say Amazon_Firefox. Okay, or Amazon Firefox, whatever, like Amazon_Firefox. And let's say in this I want to have like before class, after class. Okay, that's finish. Okay, like just simple. Okay, and somehow it created the outside. So let me right click on this and move to com.firefox. Okay, see, I have my test in this com.test.firefox and our test is here. Okay, so now like we have our three classes, @before, @after, and the other class. Okay, so now like what I want to do is I want to just like use the Firefox, like I want to use the Firefox browser and launch the WebDriver. So what I'll do in @before class, like I'll create like WebDriver equal to new Firefox driver. Okay, so this is how we can create the WebDriver object for the Firefox. So let's download that WebDriver, import the WebDriver, and import the Firefox driver. Okay, and then like the next things are same. So driver dot get, and like whatever the URL that you want to navigate to, like we need to provide that URL. So let's say I'll give it as http:// like www.amazon.com. Okay, this is same. So what it will do, it will launch the browser like Firefox browser and it will open it. So this was the case with the older versions of the Firefox. Okay, now if you are using the latest version of the Firefox and also the 3.0 Selenium, like we need to use a different thing, like not the just directly the Firefox driver. Like what we need to do is we need to create a different class for that. Okay, so let me show you what it is. So in the same way how we created, see, let's say if I set the, where is it, say here, like we need to do the, even for the Firefox we need to set the property. Okay, see, like this. So I just copied the system.set property. Okay, and see system.set property WebDriver dot, see, Firefox dot driver. Okay, and also like we need to download a latest jar for it, one of the jar for it. And see, if you see here, see, this is the latest jar, like Gecko driver. Okay, so I'll send you guys this driver. So how we downloaded it for the Chrome, how we downloaded it for the IE, like we also need to now download for the Firefox also. Okay, so previous versions like Firefox, by default we don't need to download anything, we can just directly execute them with the help of like Firefox driver. But with the latest version, like we need to provide the property to it. It's not the Firefox, it should be the Gecko.driver. Okay, and we need to provide the path to it. See, I'll copy the path. I think path is this. Okay, the path is same. I'll just change the file name. So if you come here, see, I'll change the file name. So instead of Chrome driver, like I'm giving it as this. Okay, so let me quickly open something. Okay, and see, same thing, webdriver.gecko.driver and this, and then webdriver dot, like whatever the code that we have written, then firefox.com or like Firefox driver, and then the same thing. Okay, see, like this. Okay, and let's say in the after class I'll driver dot close. Okay, see, now I'm typing driver dot. See, I'm not getting any of the methods here. Okay, because see, we created our driver variable inside this before class method. Okay, so if we create that inside that method, like we cannot access that variable from the outside or from other methods. So what we need to do, we need to declare it outside this method, okay, or inside the class, like this. So if you do it, then only you will be able to access it from everywhere in the class. See, driver dot close. Now I will get the close. Okay, so all I'm trying to do is like launching the Firefox driver and then closing it. Okay, so let's also have some code in there where, like, let's say if you want to click the element or something. Okay, so I want to click this element. Okay, here it is. So in the main method, I'll click that element. Okay, so before that, like I want to wait for some time, so I'll say thread dot sleep for, let's say, 3000 milliseconds, which is 3 seconds. So it's throwing an error because we need to throw the declaration. See, exception, like this. Okay, so all we are doing is like launching the Firefox driver, then we are clicking on an element, and then we are closing the browser. Okay, see, let's run this and see. See, run as TestNG test. So it's launching the driver. So now it will click on that sign in link. See, it will come out of the script like this. Okay, and if you see here, like we'll get all the results of it. Okay, so passed, f is passed, like whatever the method that we created, like the name of that method is f, so it got passed. And see, default test runs are 1, failures are 0, and skips are 0. Okay, so this is how like the TestNG report will be. And not only that, if you go into the console, like in the TestNG report, see, you'll get the name of the method, and in case if there is any failures, it will display the failures here. But as there are no failures, so no errors are displayed here. Okay, so this is how like we can work with the Firefox driver. Okay, so in case if it is the latest version, like we need to download the Gecko driver, and then we can work with the Firefox like this. Okay, so let's save this. Okay, and now let's come back to the like TestNG. Okay, so this is like generic, like this is the Firefox one. Like in case if you want to use Firefox, we have to use it everywhere like this. Okay, now let's come back to our TestNG. Okay, so in the last class, like we saw how to like actually work, like we created a TestNG class and we created like 2 of these methods and we are executing it. Okay, so now let's see if like generally how the methods will be executed in TestNG is based on this alphabetical order. Okay, so now let's say you have Amazon homepage and Amazon link verification. Okay, so instead of this method, like because it has before method and after method, like what I'll do is I'll create something else. Okay, and we also have a Walmart test that we created, so which has only one method. Yeah, probably that's fine. So let's try it. Like, okay, so generally like what it will do, it will like execute, like when we run this, so it will execute all these methods, and when we run the Walmart homepage class, like it will execute all these methods. Okay, so now what we are doing, like we are let's say if you want to execute some test, we need to go to that test and we need to execute one test at a time. Okay, so now let's say if I want to execute this Walmart test, I need to go and come here and select right click, then run and TestNG test. Okay, once this test has been executed, I need to go to the Amazon homepage, right click, and we need to say run as TestNG test. Okay, but like let's say if you want to execute everything at the same time, we cannot do it like this. Okay, so to achieve that, like to execute our scripts as a suite, like we have something called as a XML file. Like we need to create one XML file, and in that XML file we can provide what test that we want to execute. Okay, so that is nothing but called as like running our tests as a suite. Okay, so test suite. Okay, see, let me open that. Okay, like see, executing the test suite. Test suite is nothing but if you want to execute multiple test cases at the same time. Okay, so for that, like what we need to do is we need to create one TestNG, like one XML file, and in that XML file we need to provide some information. Okay, so see, let me create that. So on the project, like I'll say right click, new, and I'll select file. Okay, so I want to create a XML file, so I have to select this like new file. Okay, and like it's asking you in which folder you want to select, so I'll say September 2016 TestNG, and we need to give some name to it. Let's say first test suite, or I can say like smoke test suite, like all the like kind of smoke test cases. So what are the smoke test cases that I have that I want have automated, like I want to run in this test suite, so I'm giving it as smoke test suite. So click finish. Okay, see, it created a XML file. Looks like I didn't give XML in there. Let me delete this. Okay, it created a plain text file. See, say right click, new file. Okay, so smoke test suite.xml. Okay, so if you don't give XML, it will create as a text file. So we need to provide it, give the extension as .xml. Click on finish. See, now it created a XML file. Okay, and it opened it. So in this XML file, like we need to give some data, like we need to give there is a specific format that we need to use, and then based on that we can create the test suite. Okay, and generally the XML, it has a functionality that like you need to have start and an end tag. Okay, so see, open the curly bracket, like less than symbol. Okay, then we need to provide it as suite name equal to something, let's say smoke test. Okay, close the brackets, and see, once you click on the close bracket, see, it gave you some, it added some line of code like slash slash, like open and close that like less than and greater than symbol, and say slash suite. Okay, so this is the start tag and this is the end tag. So this is the start tag and this is the end tag for that specific tag. Okay, so now inside this, look, so this specifies us this is a test suite and the name of the test suite is smoke test. Okay, so now inside this, like we need to give something called as test name equal to, let's say we are testing the Amazon, right? So I'll say Amazon, or just say, let's say sales websites. Okay, or some sales website. Okay, and close the this. Okay, so this is test. Okay, see, again, even for the test we got a end test, which is a end tag. Okay, so let me do some so that we can easily understand. See, like this. Okay, so proper indentation so that we can understand like from where is what. Okay, and now inside this, like we need to write something called as classes. Okay, so what are the classes that we want to execute? See, classes like this. Okay, and inside classes we need to give class. So classes means like how many classes that you want to execute. Okay, and inside that, like we'll have each class. See, class like name equal to, okay, so we need to provide the name here and end the end tag like this. See, class. Okay, and in the name, like we need to provide the name of the class that you want to execute. Okay, let's say for example if you take the Amazon homepage, so see, this is the name of the class. Okay, or sorry, here it is, like class Amazon homepage. So we need to provide the name there. See, class is Amazon homepage. Okay, and not just the name of the class, like here we need to also provide the name of the package also. Okay, so whatever the package that we created, see this one, com.test.testng example, we also need to provide that. Okay, so let me copy this from here. I'll just say properties. So yeah, it's not giving me. Okay, let me type it, com.test.testng examples dot Amazon homepage. Okay, so the total package name and the name of the class. Okay, and now inside this class, see what do we have inside this class? Like let's say in the Amazon class, like we have this test, Amazon test, and we have Amazon homepage. Okay, so we can just give it like that. Okay, or in case if you want to specifically select which test that you want to, or whichever, in any case, let's say if you want to only run some test, then we need to provide that test name. Okay, in case if you want to run everything in this class, I can just give it like this. Okay, save it and see if I run. Okay, now let's say I want to execute everything that is there in this class. Okay, so I'll do just this. So suite test classes, then class. Okay, see, now if you want to execute this, like what we need to do is we need to go to this XML file, the smoke test suite.xml, right click and say, see, run TestNG suite. Okay, so now when you create an XML file here, like it knows that it's a test suite and by the tag that you are providing inside that file. Now when you do this, it will open like whatever the tests that are there inside that script, okay, or inside that class, it will execute all those methods. Okay, see, run it. See, inside before class, inside before method, and it will execute that code. See, now inside the other one, inside like one more method is there. So it executed everything. Okay, and some verification got failed, so that's why it failed. Okay, so some verification that we are doing in that step got failed. Okay, see, test run is 2 because we executed 2 tests in there and one got failed. Okay, so this is how like you can execute all of them. Okay, so it's the same thing like going to that file and executing it. It's also the same thing. Okay, but now what we can do is we can add one more class here. Okay, see, we said one class, then open the bracket, say class, okay, name equal to the next class. Let's say com.test.testng examples dot, see, the Walmart homepage, which is this, like this. Okay, and end the class. That's it. So first it will execute the first class, then it will execute the second one. Okay, now if I say right click, see, run from step. So I think in this Walmart we don't have much code here. So let me copy some code just to at least like open the browser and close it. So I'll just copy this Firefox thing that we had. Okay, in before method, after method, I have it in the test method. Okay, and it is asking us to do the web driver like this. Okay, and download the web driver. Okay, and thread.sleep throws declaration like this. Okay, we can have declaration or exception. Okay, we are just like trying to launch it and just close it just for us to see how it's running. Okay, so now see, I'll go to this smoke test suite.xml, run as TestNG suite. See, now it's executing the first one. So in that class it's opening the second method. See, now it's opening the Firefox driver. So there also we gave Amazon.com, so that's why it only launched the Amazon homepage. Okay, and if you see here, see, the test runs are 3. Okay, now 3 tests has been executed, 2 from the first class and 1 from the second class. Okay, see, that's how we can use this XML file and we can create the suite like using the TestNG. Okay, and this is how like we can give, and when you create the class like this, like we never know how those classes will be executed. Okay, first let's say Amazon, one time when you execute, it might execute Amazon.com. One time, like next time when you execute, it might first execute Walmart and then it might execute Amazon. Okay, but let's say in case if you want to have a specific order that you want to do, first you want to test Amazon, then you want to test Walmart, then you want to test something else, like then we need to specify something in the test called preserve order. Okay, see, if you do this, preserve hyphen order equal to true. Okay, so if you do this, what it will do is every time it will execute in the same way. First it will execute Amazon, then it will execute Walmart, like that. Okay, so we need to give this keyword. If you don't give this keyword in the test, it might execute the class in whatever the way that it wants. Okay, so this is how like we can execute the classes and we can execute the method or what are the methods that are there in that class. Okay, not only this, see inside the class, let's say you have some methods. Let's say if you take this Amazon homepage, let's say you have multiple methods in here. Okay, one is to open amazon.com and see one more test. Let's say I'll copy this code. Okay, instead of I'll say this as Amazon homepage. Okay, and one more as Walmart homepage. Okay, so in both of them, like let's say I'm creating the driver and I'm using there itself, so that should be okay. Or I'll do this. Okay, and I'll do like I'll create them inside the method. Okay, so now let's say like we have two tests here, okay, in this Walmart homepage, and if you give the class name, what it will do, it will execute whatever the methods that are there in that class. Okay, but let's say we want to execute only some of them. Let's say you have 100 test cases in there that you created for, like this is nothing but test case. So this is one test case, this is one test case. Like let's say you have hundreds of test cases in there, but you only want to run some of those test cases. Okay, so in that case, what we need to do is we need to specify which method you want to execute. Okay, that we can do it with the help of methods inside this class. See, something like this, methods. Okay, which will give me the end method. Okay, in there I need to provide include name equal to name of the method that you want to execute, like this. Okay, see, let me go back to the class and get this. See, Walmart homepage. So the method name is Walmart homepage, and see, I'll just remove this or let it be. Okay, so what it will do now, it will open the Amazon and everything from the Amazon, and it will only execute the Walmart homepage. So in this Walmart homepage, we have Amazon homepage as well as Walmart homepage also, but it will only execute the Walmart homepage. Okay, see, let's run this and see. Right click, then run as TestNG suite. So it went into the first class. So in those methods, like you can have whatever the code that you want to, like to keep it simple and straightforward, like I'm keeping only small code, like just to launch the application, do some small tasks. But in case if you have a specific test case to do some specific task, we can have all the code in that method. See, now it opened the Firefox. Okay, see, 3 of the tests got passed and 1 got failed. Okay, it opened Amazon itself because I didn't change it to Walmart. So see, that's why it opened Amazon itself. Okay, but now if I execute, it will change it to Walmart. So let me do that. See, okay, save it. I just removed the first class. I only kept this class and this Walmart homepage method. So now see, it will only run the Walmart homepage. See, run as TestNG test. See, now it opened the Walmart. Okay, it didn't execute the Amazon code. Even though that method has the Amazon also, see, it didn't execute that Amazon. It only executed the Walmart homepage because we gave that. Okay, and see, if you see here, inside Walmart after method. Okay, inside Walmart method, and see, run is 1. Only one test case has been executed. Okay, so that's how like we need to, or how, this is how like we can create a suite like with the help of an XML file, and we can select which test cases that I want to execute and select which test cases I don't want to execute. Okay, classes like methods, you can go into that such a deeper level inside that methods, or you, if you want to execute all the classes, we can give all the classes, or select some specific methods, we can do it like this. Okay, so this is how generally in real-time scenarios also what we do is we don't want to go and execute each and every class. So we'll just create one XML file. For smoke test, we'll create one XML file. For, let's say, in case if you have a let's say regression test cases, so we'll create one XML file and put all the regression test cases that we want to execute into that XML file. And when they want to run it, whenever a build is received, we'll just come here and right click and say execute that suite. That's how it's done even in the real-time scenarios also. That's why we use the TestNG framework. See, this feature is not there in the JUnit framework. So JUnit is just simple annotations. Okay, so this TestNG has all these features. That's why like we generally use the TestNG itself rather than using the JUnit. So with TestNG, you have all the features of JUnit plus new features of TestNG. Okay, so this is how like we can create a smoke test suite and we can execute it. Okay, and in the same way, like how we have like suite, like there are something called as groupings also. Okay, so in TestNG, like we have grouping of test cases. Okay, for example, let's say like you create some test cases, like some test case. So let me close this and I'll come here and I'll just create one test, new, other, TestNG class, next. Okay, so let's give which folder that you want to execute or in which package that you want to create, and say cars, maybe cars test. Okay, cars grouping test. Okay, cars grouping test, and let's say in this I want some probably at the rate before class, at the rate after class. Okay, I don't want anything, like I can select what are the other things that I want annotations, but let's say I only just want before class and after class. Okay, so now see, at the rate before class, then this, and after class, and one method for test there will be sure. Okay, so in the before class what I'll do is I'll just put something, let's say system.out.println, let's say inside before class. So in the same way, even here system.out.println, like inside after class. Okay, so now this is my test method. Okay, so the name of the test method, that first what I'll do is I'll give something as maybe the method as, let's say, Honda. Okay, and then I'll copy this, or let me write some code into it, like system.out.println, simple, inside Honda car. Okay, so, or Honda, let's say I'll say Accord. So inside Honda Accord. Okay, and I want to create some more methods. Method number 2, let's say I'll say BMW 3 series or 328. Okay, and the message just like a different method. So let's say BMW inside BMW 328. Okay, one more copy, and I'm saying let's say BMW, let's say X3. X3. Okay, and here I'll copy one more for the Accord or the Honda. Instead of Accord, I'll say let's say CRV. Just like the name of the methods. Okay, and finally one more method for let's say Audi A3. Let's say Audi A3. Then finally Audi Q5. Okay, so I have like different methods here, like for let's say CRV, Accord, like 328, X3, Audi A3, Q5, and then finally like I have at the rate before class and after class. So if I execute this, what will happen? So see, I'm saving it, like right click and just say run as TestNG test. So basic thing, I didn't do anything. All I did is created some methods and I'm executing it. And I just put some messages in there, like see, passed Audi A3, Audi Q5, BMW 3 Series, like BMW X3, then Honda Accord, Honda CRV. Okay. And if you see here the hierarchy or how the test cases have been executed, see, they are in the alphabetical order, A, B, B, H, and H. Okay, so they have been executed in this way. If you see here, like first we created like Honda methods. Okay, then you have BMW methods, then you have Audi method. Okay, but the way it executes those methods is based on the names of the, or the alphabetical order of the method names. Okay, and now like what it did, we just like displayed them, like it executed the code and it executed all the 6 methods and it displayed whatever the code that is there in it. And even if you go into the TestNG results, like you'll see the same thing. See Audi A3, Q5, 328, X3, Accord, and CRV. Okay, as there are no failures, everything is passed, and see it says test passed, and like no issues with that. Okay, so now, so let's say like now, like in TestNG, we have an option called as grouping. So grouping in the sense, see, let's say you want to make some test cases as smoke test cases. You want to make some test cases as regression test cases. So one thing that we can do is we can select like create a XML file and we can do that. Okay, but it's not that easy. So you need to go and select which method that you want to do and all those things. And but again, like you can change it and you can create it. But in TestNG, like we have something called as grouping. So what we can do is we can test like what are the test cases that we create or what are the tests that we create, we can group them based on some functionality or based on whatever the name that you want to. Okay. And again, we can create an XML file and we can execute those groups. Okay. See how to do that is like test is same. So after the test, what we need to do is we need to add a bracket and say groups equal to open a curly bracket and close a curly bracket. Inside that you need to give the name of the group. Okay, see this Honda Accord is a sedan, so I'll give the group name as sedan like this. In the same way, see, even for this groups equal to see sedan like this and close the curly bracket. Okay. So let me copy this. Okay, so Honda CRV is not a sedan, so I'll change it to let's say SUV. Okay, so 3 Series is a sedan, so I'll copy this. X3 is a SUV. See, SUV. Then Audi A3 is a sedan, and this one is SUV Q5 like this. Okay, so I grouped them. So now what I can do is, let's say if my test cases are my like lead or manager comes and says that can you please execute all the sedan cars tests. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to execute this group. If I execute the sedans group, it will execute this, and it will execute this, and it will execute this. So all these three tests. And in case if I want to execute the SUVs group, I can just give SUV group and it will execute this, all the three groups which are, or all the three tests that are associated to that group SUV. Okay, so like this also we can do. Or in case if you want if you want to give multiple different groups to that same thing. For example, let's say see sedan you want to give, as well you want to give something else, let's say comma, I want to give it as Honda. Okay, and see this is also SUV comma Honda. Okay, and here like this one is BMW. This one is SUV comma BMW, like kind of tagging with different groups. So this, and let's say Audi, and this is also Audi. Okay, so now let's say if my requirement says that okay, like we need to test all the Honda cars, like let it be sedan, let it be SUV, or whatever the cars it is, like I need to test all my Honda cars. So all I can do is just pass this Honda in there. So it will come here, take all the tests which are tagged to that Honda, and it will execute all of them. See all these tests. In case if I want to execute the BMW cars, I can do BMW and it will execute these two methods. Okay, and in the same way if I want to execute Audi, I can give Audi like this, which will execute these two test cases. Okay, so like this, like you can tag them based on the groups that you want to create, and you can execute them. Okay, so now like this is how you tag, like you create your test cases and you tag it to them. So again, inside this you can have whatever the code that you want to. Okay, let's say if you really want to test Honda Accord, maybe you need to launch the browser, go to Honda website, then purchase a Honda Accord and do some verifications. Like you can have all the code in there. Okay, so like that, like so just to keep it simple and we need to understand the functionality, I'm just writing this system.out.println so that we can see the result. But inside that you can have whatever the code that you want to have it. Okay, so now like to execute them, so to execute them again we need to use a XML file. Okay, so how we created the test suite.xml, we'll create one more XML file which will have where you will provide what groups that you want to execute. See, I'll go to the September 2016 TestNG folder, right click, see new file. So same thing, I want to create a XML file. So the file name is, let's say probably cars regression. Okay, cars regression or BMW cars or whatever the name that you want to, cars regression, let's say dot XML. So we need to for sure give the dot XML, otherwise it will not treat that file as a XML file. So then click on finish. Okay, so it creates the XML. So again same thing, first we need to start with the suite. See, suite name equal to, let's say cars. Okay, and tag, and you'll get this. Okay, and now same thing, test name equal to, let's say cars test something. Okay, close the bracket, which will give me this test. Okay, so after test, then now. Okay, so we can again select the classes like how we did for the other one. Okay, we can give a class name and inside that class go and do something. We can also do that. Okay, or we can directly like give, so let's give the class name also. Okay, see class CLASSES classes. Okay, and classes, and then I'll give the class name equal to, see then com dot our path, so it's in here, so I'll say com dot test dot TestNG examples. Okay, so com dot test dot TestNG example. So I want to execute all of them in here. Okay, so I want to execute all the methods that are there in that class. So now we need to provide the group names. Okay, see how to do that is like this: groups and end groups. Okay, and inside that, see, we have to say define name equal to, like, what are the let's say I want to give it as Honda. Okay, I want to create the group for Honda. Okay, and in here I can say, see, like include name equal to, let's say, Honda, like this. Include name equal to Honda, actually. So this is for the groups and this is for the classes. Okay, so before define, actually we need to say run also here. See, run and end run and include this. Yeah, like this. Okay, so first is classes, which we did in the previous smoke test also. Okay, so previous topic also, and see now we create the groups, and inside the groups, like, we need to define them. Okay, so we need to define them and we need to run them. Oh, sorry, not like this. This is the definition. Okay, and we need to have one more in here. Define, then yeah, inside groups we need to have run. Okay, like this. Okay, and in the run we need to say include name equal to Honda, like this. Yeah. Okay, so here, like, first of all we need to define what groups that you want to execute and what are the and give a name to it, and then in the run tag we need to specify that name. See, this Honda, we are specifying it here. Okay, so now if you run this, like, it will only execute the Honda test cases. Okay, so Honda test cases are nothing but, see, Honda Accord and Honda CRV. Okay, see, let's run this and see. I'll go to this cars regression.xml, right click, run as TestNG suite. Okay, so it is giving me error. So it is strongly recommended to add, what is this? So it's asking us to add a new line like doc type to at the top of the file, otherwise TestNG may fail or not work as expected. No, we don't need it because we just like created this one, it didn't ask. So let's see if we are missing anything. So first is a suite, end suite, then we have the test tag, and we do have test here, so which is correct. Then okay, let's copy this. Then we have the groups, then define name is Honda. Okay, instead of Honda, let's say we'll give Honda car. Maybe it gets getting confused with the same name as the group name. Should not, but let's give it. See, groups, then end groups, then we have the define name Honda car, and we have include Honda. Yeah, this is correct. Then run include Honda car. That's correct. Okay. And okay, let me add these classes here and see. So we have the classes, we have all of them. Okay, let me run it again. Yeah, same thing. Okay. Okay, let me copy this into here. Okay, so this XML file, let me see if it works. Okay, or I'll put it into a notepad. Same thing, I just copied into a different the smoke test file which we first created, and let's see if this works. Oh, same error. Strongly recommended. No, this is not coming for this, but for that. Name is car, suite name, then cars test, then groups. Okay, wait, so instead of defining it, let me do something else also. Run, include name, then run, then groups and classes. Oh, okay, let's try this and see. I'm just removing the define and just running this. See smoke test, cars.regression. Yeah, same thing. Let's at least run this one and see if this runs. We are creating the same file, but somehow it's not. See, when I run the smoke test.xml, it is taking it. It's able to run that, but not this. Okay. Why? Suite name is cars. Oh, see, actually we did not give the name of the class. So we gave com.test.test examples, but not the class name. See, cars test grouping test. See, that's missing. That's why it's not able to understand where the test is. See, okay, let me run it again and see. See, run as TestNG suite. See, now it's running. Okay, see, it executed the cars and nothing has been executed. Okay, so let's see now. Okay, at least it's executing it. See, Honda car. Okay, so Honda is there but not the Honda car, so that's why it didn't execute. See, because we are directly giving the method, like now we want to give the group that we want to execute it. See, right click, run as, sorry, cars regression.xml, run as, and TestNG. Okay, see, it executed. Okay, and if you see, like we did, like we executed only the Honda cars. Okay, the group Honda, which has two methods in it, like Honda Accord and Honda CRV. So if you see the console, see, it executed inside Honda Accord, inside Honda CRV. Okay, and if you see the TestNG results, see Honda Accord and Honda CRV. Okay, so two have been executed. In case like you want to change it, and let's say you want to execute all the BMW cars, so all you need to do is see BMW here. So just give the name of that company or name of the group that you created. See, right click, run as TestNG suite. See, it executed BMW 328 and BMW X3. And if you see this, see BMW 328 and BMW X3, like this. Okay, let's say if I want to only execute the sedans, so I can give the group name sedan here. Okay, see sedan, I give a group name sedan. Okay, it's a lowercase, so it's a case sensitive, so we need to give whatever the case that you created. See, right click and I'll say run as TestNG suite. Okay, see Audi A3, BMW 3 Series and Honda Accord. So only those three sedan cars got executed. So what are the SUV methods are there, or the groups that we tagged as SUV, like it didn't execute it. Okay, so this is how like you can create the groups and we can use those groups. Okay, so basic simple thing like this is how we can do. So in case if you want to execute sedan as well as you also want to execute, let's say in include name equal to, let's say BMW. Okay, so like in case if you want to execute multiple groups, we can also do it like this. See, right click and say run as TestNG test or suite. Okay, see Audi A3, BMW 3 Series, BMW X3 and Honda Accord. Okay, so now 4 got executed, all the BMW cars plus all the sedan cars. Okay, so only that got added is X3 because 3 Series all comes in both sedan as well as like we tagged it into both sedan as well as SUV or the BMW. Okay, so that's why it executed, and all the other 3 plus SUV one. Okay, so this is how like we can create the groups and we can execute those groups, like we can tag the groups and we can execute them. Okay, so this is simple. Like in the same way, like we can also create some groups of tags. So now we said okay sedan, then we have BMW. We can also do one more thing. See, let me copy all of them. Like inside this also we can create some groups, okay, or the tags. Okay, see, okay, or I'll type it again. See, suite. Okay, or let me do on another file so that it's clear. See, I'll create one more file here and say new file, and I'll name it as, let's say, cars groups grouping. Okay, or cars define group dot xml. Okay, so here in the grouping also, like in the XML, we can again create some groups and pass it. Okay, see something like this. Let's say suite name equal to, let's say, define cars. Okay, something, then end it, which will end the suite, and then we have the test name equal to define cars. Okay, whatever, like define cars. Okay, here. Okay, so we have the test, and now same thing, like we need to provide the classes for sure, because we need to know where our actual tests are. Classes, okay, then class, okay, and class, like we need to provide the name of the class. Okay, let's copy it from there. So com.test.grouping test. Okay, so the class is done. So this is for the class. Okay, so just like formatting it. So now the class is done. Okay, so then what we can do is we can define some groups. Like inside this class we have to do groups. See, groups, which we did previously. Okay, and there we can define a group. See, define name equal to, let's say, BMW Honda. Okay, BMW Honda, like define this. Okay, and in this we want to include, see, include name equal to, let's say, BMW. Okay, and include name equal to, let's say, Audi. UDI, Audi, like this. Okay, instead of BMW I can say premium, like premium cars or something. Okay, so if I go here, I'm just checking if I give, yeah, Audi uppercase and lowercase. Okay, see, okay, BMW and Audi. So to run them, like same thing. See, now run tag. Okay, and in the run we have to say include name equal to premium cars. So it will execute all the premium cars like this. Oh. Okay, sorry. Premium cars hash include. Okay, then we have test and everything is same. So like just like creating a group, like defining a group and passing that group name here. So we can also do this. Okay, see. Now if I run this, see, right click, so it will execute all the BMWs and Audis. Okay, see, Audi A3, Audi Q5, BMW 3 Series, BMW X3, like this. See, all the 4 test cases have been executed. All the premium cars have been executed. Okay. In the same way, in case if you want to have one more, something like this, like we can create it. I'll just copy them, and instead of premium cars, let's say I'll say sedan cars. Okay, or yeah, sedan. Okay, and I can also say include sedan cars also. It's just like an XML file, so whatever that you do give, it will take it. See, like this. You can say sedan cars. So it will execute both BMW, all the premium cars, as well as it will also execute the sedan cars like this. Okay, so based on our requirement, like how the test cases we want to group, or what test cases that we want to execute for a specific scenario, like we can create a XML file like this and we can execute them. Okay, so generally what we do is for smoke testing, we'll create an XML file, like we'll group them first, we'll group all the test cases first based on the functionality or what the test case is meant for, and then we'll create a XML file with these groups and we'll execute it. So for smoke test, we'll have a smoke. For regression testing, we'll have like something, we'll give smoke here. Then let's say if this is for regression testing, I'll add regression, something like that. See, something like this, let's say smoke. Okay, smoke test, and here I'll say regression test. Okay, so that means this test case is for smoke testing, this test case is for regression testing. So like that, let's say this is again for, let's say, smoke. Okay, so like this. So I'll just tag those all my tests to specific groups, and then I'll execute that groups in this like XML file. So when we want to really execute it, all we do is come to that XML file, right click, and just run as a test suite, which will execute all our test cases. Okay, so this is how like we can group them and or group the test cases and execute those test cases based on our requirement. Okay, so any questions or is it clear? Okay, I'm unmuting you all. So is it clear or any questions? Okay, so no questions. So